The morning sun cast golden rays across the bustling streets of Islamabad as security personnel made their final preparations. October 14, 2019 would mark a historic day for Pakistan, as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were set to attend one of the most prestigious red carpet events the country had ever hosted. The excitement was palpable throughout the capital city, with crowds gathering hours before the royal couple's scheduled arrival. Prince William adjusted his navy blue suit as their aircraft descended toward the runway. Through the small window, he could see the sprawling landscape of Pakistan stretching endlessly beneath them. This wasn't just another diplomatic visit for him and Kate. It carried deep personal significance. His mother, Princess Diana, had visited Pakistan multiple times during the 1990s, leaving behind a legacy of compassion and humanitarian work that still resonated with the Pakistani people today. Kate smoothed her emerald green dress, chosen specifically to honor Pakistan's national colors. Her stylist had worked tirelessly to ensure every detail was perfect for this momentous occasion. The dress featured intricate embroidery inspired by traditional Pakistani designs, a subtle but meaningful gesture that would not go unnoticed by the local media and dignitaries who awaited their arrival. As their convoy made its way through the streets of Islamabad, thousands of people lined the roads, waving British and Pakistani flags in unison. Children held handmade signs welcoming the royal couple, their faces beaming with excitement at catching a glimpse of the future king and queen. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and genuine warmth that touched both William and Kate deeply. The venue for the evening's gala was the magnificent Iwan-e-Sadr, the presidential palace that had been transformed into a glittering spectacle for the occasion. Pakistani officials had spared no expense in creating an event that would showcase the country's rich cultural heritage while honoring the visiting royals. Hundreds of workers had labored for weeks to ensure every detail was perfect, from the elaborate floral arrangements featuring roses and jasmine to the traditional Pakistani carpets that adorned the entrance hall. British High Commissioner Thomas Drew greeted the couple as they stepped out of their vehicle, briefing them quickly on the evening's schedule. The red carpet event would feature performances by renowned Pakistani artists, a showcase of traditional crafts, and speeches from both British and Pakistani dignitaries. More importantly, it would serve as a platform to strengthen diplomatic ties between the two nations and highlight collaborative efforts in education, climate change, and economic development. Kate's lady-in-waiting made final adjustments to her appearance as they prepared to make their grand entrance. The Duchess had chosen to wear jewelry that belonged to Queen Elizabeth, including a stunning necklace that caught the light beautifully as camera flashes illuminated the red carpet. Her hair was styled in an elegant updo that showcased the intricate earrings she wore. Another nod to Pakistani craftsmanship. The sounds of traditional Pakistani music filled the air as the royal couple stepped onto the red carpet. Photographers from around the world jostled for position, eager to capture the perfect shot of this historic moment. Pakistani television channels provided live coverage, with commentators describing every detail of Kate's outfit and William's confident demeanor as they made their way toward the entrance. President Arif Alvi and his wife Samina Alvi stood at the entrance to welcome their distinguished guests. The president wore traditional Pakistani formal wear, while the First Lady donned an elegant sari that sparkled under the bright lights. The meeting between the two couples was warm and genuine, with smiles and handshakes that conveyed mutual respect and friendship. Inside the palace, the atmosphere was even more breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows on the walls, while the sound of gentle conversation in multiple languages created a sophisticated ambiance. Diplomats, business leaders, celebrities, and cultural figures from both Britain and Pakistan mingled freely, creating connections that would extend far beyond this single evening. The royal couple was introduced to various dignitaries and prominent figures, each interaction carefully choreographed, yet feeling natural and spontaneous. William engaged in animated conversations about cricket with former Pakistani players, while Kate showed genuine interest in the work of local women's rights activists and education advocates. Their ability to connect with people from all walks of life was evident throughout the evening. As they moved through the reception, the couple was treated to demonstrations of traditional Pakistani arts and crafts. Master artisans displayed their skills in carpet weaving, jewelry making, and calligraphy, explaining the historical significance of each technique. Kate was particularly fascinated by the intricate embroidery work, asking detailed questions about the different regional styles and the stories behind various patterns. The evening's entertainment began with a performance by the renowned Qawwali singer Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, whose powerful voice filled the grand ballroom. The spiritual music created an atmosphere of reverence and cultural appreciation, with many guests visibly moved by the emotional performance. William and Kate listened intently, clearly affected by the beauty and passion of the traditional Pakistani music. Following the musical performance, a fashion show highlighted the work of contemporary Pakistani designers who had gained international recognition. Models walked the runway wearing stunning creations that blended traditional Pakistani elements with modern design sensibilities. Kate watched with obvious appreciation, taking mental notes about the innovative use of fabrics and colors that characterized Pakistani haute couture. The highlight of the evening came when local children performed traditional dances, their colorful costumes swirling as they moved to the rhythm of drums and flutes. The innocent joy on their faces brought smiles to everyone present, including William and Kate, who applauded enthusiastically and even joined in some of the simpler dance moves when invited by the young performers. As the formal program continued, speeches were delivered by various dignitaries, emphasizing the importance of strengthening ties between Britain and Pakistan. The British High Commissioner spoke about shared values and common goals, while Pakistani officials highlighted the potential for increased cooperation in trade, education, and cultural exchange. Throughout the evening, Kate's grace and William's diplomatic skill were on full display. They navigated conversations with ease, showing genuine interest in Pakistani culture, while representing British interests with dignity and charm. Their presence elevated the entire event, creating an atmosphere of celebration and mutual respect that would be remembered for years to come. The red carpet event was more than just a social gathering. It was a symbol of the enduring friendship between two nations with deep historical connections. As the evening progressed, it became clear that this visit would mark the beginning of a new chapter in British-Pakistani relations, one built on understanding, cooperation, and shared aspirations for a better future. The grand ballroom buzzed with animated conversation as guests savored the exquisite Pakistani cuisine that had been specially prepared for the evening. Master chefs from across the country had collaborated to create a menu that showcased the diverse flavors and culinary traditions of different regions. William sampled the aromatic biryani with evident pleasure, while Kate was particularly drawn to the delicate rose-flavored desserts that concluded the meal. During dinner, the royal couple was seated at the head table alongside President Alvi and other distinguished guests. The conversation flowed easily between topics ranging from climate change initiatives to educational reforms. William shared insights from his conservation work with the Tusk Trust, drawing parallels between wildlife protection efforts in Africa and similar challenges faced in Pakistan's northern regions. Kate engaged in a lengthy discussion with prominent Pakistani women leaders about initiatives to improve girls' education in rural areas. Her genuine concern for educational equality resonated deeply with the local advocates, who appreciated her informed questions and thoughtful suggestions. The Duchess had clearly done her homework before this visit, demonstrating a thorough understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing Pakistani society. As the evening progressed, a special presentation was made showcasing collaborative projects between British and Pakistani organizations. A documentary film highlighted successful partnerships in areas such as sustainable agriculture, renewable energy development, and disaster relief efforts. The audience watched intently as testimonials from ordinary citizens demonstrated the real-world impact of these international collaborations. One particularly moving segment featured a young Pakistani engineer who had studied at Cambridge University through a British scholarship program. She now worked on developing solar energy solutions for remote villages, bringing electricity to communities that had never had reliable power before. Her story exemplified the positive outcomes that could result from stronger educational and technological partnerships between the two countries. The royal couple was then invited to view an exhibition of contemporary Pakistani art that had been specially arranged for their visit. Local artists had created pieces that reflected both traditional themes and modern perspectives on Pakistani identity. William showed particular interest in landscape paintings depicting the dramatic mountain ranges of northern Pakistan, while Kate was drawn to portraits that captured the dignity and resilience of ordinary Pakistani people. During their tour of the art exhibition, the couple met with several of the featured artists, engaging in thoughtful conversations about their creative processes and inspirations. One young artist explained how her work explored themes of cultural identity and generational change in modern Pakistan. Kate asked insightful questions about the artist's techniques and the symbolic meaning behind various elements in her paintings. The evening took on an even more personal dimension when a special presentation honored the memory of Princess Diana and her humanitarian work in Pakistan. A video montage showed highlights from Diana's visits to hospitals, schools, and orphanages, demonstrating her genuine compassion for the Pakistani people. The emotional tribute brought tears to many eyes, including those of William, who was visibly moved by this recognition of his mother's legacy. Following the tribute to Diana, Pakistani officials announced the establishment of a new foundation dedicated to continuing her humanitarian work in the region. The Diana Memorial Foundation would focus on healthcare initiatives, particularly maternal and child health programs in underserved communities. William expressed his gratitude for this honor and pledged British support for the foundation's important work. The cultural program continued with a spectacular performance by the National Dance Company of Pakistan. Dancers in elaborate costumes performed traditional pieces from different regions, each telling a story through movement and music. The diversity of Pakistani culture was beautifully displayed through these performances, from the energetic Bhangra dances of Punjab to the graceful classical forms of Sindh. Kate was invited to try her hand at traditional Pakistani calligraphy, working alongside master calligraphers to create a special piece that would be presented to a local school. Her concentration and respect for the art form impressed the experts, who praised her natural talent and willingness to embrace Pakistani cultural traditions. The completed calligraphy piece featured a message of friendship and cooperation between Britain and Pakistan. A highlight of the evening came when William participated in a cricket demonstration with former Pakistani international players. The informal match drew cheers and laughter from the audience as the prince showed off his batting skills against some legendary bowlers. His good-natured participation and obvious enjoyment endeared him further to the Pakistani guests, many of whom were passionate cricket fans. The evening's program also featured a technology showcase highlighting Pakistani innovations in various fields. Young entrepreneurs presented their solutions to challenges in agriculture, healthcare, and education, demonstrating the country's growing reputation as a center for technological innovation. William and Kate showed genuine interest in these developments, asking detailed questions about market potential and scalability. One particularly impressive demonstration featured a Pakistani startup that had developed mobile health applications for rural communities. Their technology allowed remote villages to access medical consultations and health information through simple smartphone apps. Kate was fascinated by the potential of this technology to improve maternal health outcomes in underserved areas. The royal couple also met with representatives from Pakistani universities who were collaborating with British institutions on research projects. These academic partnerships were producing groundbreaking work in fields ranging from renewable energy to archaeological studies of ancient civilizations in the Indus Valley. The university leaders expressed their appreciation for British support and their excitement about future collaborative opportunities. As the formal program drew to a close, both William and Kate delivered brief remarks expressing their gratitude for the warm welcome they had received. William spoke about the importance of the historical ties between Britain and Pakistan, while emphasizing the potential for even stronger partnerships in the future. His words were met with enthusiastic applause from the audience. Kate's speech focused on the inspiring people she had met during their visit, particularly the women and young people who were working to build a better future for their communities. She praised the resilience and creativity of the Pakistani people and expressed her admiration for their commitment to progress and development. Her heartfelt words clearly resonated with everyone present. The evening concluded with a traditional Pakistani blessing ceremony, where local religious leaders offered prayers for peace and prosperity for both nations. The solemn yet hopeful ceremony provided a fitting end to an evening that had celebrated both the rich heritage of Pakistan and the promise of continued friendship with Britain. As guests began to depart, many lingered to continue conversations that had begun during the formal program. New friendships were formed and business cards exchanged as people from different backgrounds and cultures found common ground and shared interests. The red carpet event had successfully achieved its goal of bringing people together and fostering understanding between nations. The final hours of the red carpet event brought unexpected moments of intimacy and connection that would be remembered long after the formal ceremonies ended. As the larger crowd began to disperse, William and Kate found themselves in smaller, more personal conversations with Pakistani families who had been specially invited to share their stories and experiences. One particularly touching encounter involved a family from Peshawar who had benefited from a British-funded education program. The parents, both teachers themselves, brought their 3 children to meet the royal couple. The youngest daughter, only 8 years old, presented Kate with a hand-drawn picture depicting friendship between British and Pakistani children. The simple yet heartfelt gift moved the Duchess to tears, and she knelt down to the child's level to express her sincere gratitude. William engaged in an extended conversation with a group of Pakistani military veterans who had served alongside British forces in various peacekeeping missions. These men shared stories of camaraderie and mutual respect that had developed during their joint service, highlighting the bonds that existed between the two nations at the most personal level. The prince listened intently, clearly honoring their service and sacrifice. As the evening wound down, the royal couple was presented with several meaningful gifts from their Pakistani hosts. The president's wife presented Kate with an exquisite shawl hand-woven by artisans from Kashmir, its intricate patterns telling the story of the region's rich textile heritage. The First Lady explained the symbolism behind each design element, creating a moment of cultural education that Kate treasured. William received a specially commissioned piece of Pakistani craftsmanship, a detailed miniature painting depicting the historic Badshahi Mosque in Lahore. The artist had spent months creating this masterpiece, using traditional techniques passed down through generations. The prince was visibly impressed by the skill and dedication required to create such intricate artwork, and he pledged to display it prominently in Kensington Palace. The evening's final formal moment came when both couples signed a commemorative guest book, leaving messages of friendship and cooperation for future generations to read. William wrote about his admiration for Pakistani hospitality and his commitment to strengthening bilateral relations. Kate's message focused on the inspiring women and children she had met, expressing hope for continued collaboration in education and healthcare initiatives. Behind the scenes, Diplomatic staff from both countries were already planning follow-up meetings and initiatives that would build on the momentum created by this successful visit. Trade delegations were being organized, educational exchanges expanded, and cultural programs developed. The red carpet event had served as a launching pad for deeper cooperation across multiple sectors. As the royal couple prepared for their departure, members of the Pakistani press conducted brief interviews with various attendees, capturing reactions and impressions from the evening. Business leaders spoke enthusiastically about new partnership opportunities, while cultural figures praised the event's success in showcasing Pakistan's rich heritage to an international audience. The security detail began their final preparations, as William and Kate took a few moments to privately reflect on the significance of their visit. Both recognized that this had been more than a diplomatic formality. It represented a genuine opportunity to honor the past while building bridges for the future. Their personal connection to Pakistan through Diana's legacy had added emotional depth to what might otherwise have been routine ceremonial duties. Local television coverage of the event continued throughout the night, with analysts discussing the potential impact of the visit on British-Pakistani relations. Commentary focused on the genuine warmth displayed by both sides and the concrete initiatives that had been announced during the evening. Social media buzzed with photos and videos from the event, spreading images of friendship and cooperation to audiences around the world. The Pakistani fashion designers who had participated in the evening's showcase found themselves inundated with international inquiries following the global media coverage. Kate's obvious appreciation for their work had provided invaluable exposure for Pakistani creative talent, potentially opening new markets and opportunities for the country's growing fashion industry. Educational institutions in both countries began receiving increased interest in exchange programs and collaborative research projects. The visible support shown by the royal couple for academic partnerships had elevated these programs' profiles, leading to increased funding and participation from students and faculty in both nations. As dawn approached over Islamabad, the cleanup crews worked to restore the presidential palace to its normal state, but the impact of the evening would last far longer than the physical preparations. Staff members who had worked on the event spoke proudly of their role in hosting such a successful diplomatic gathering, knowing they had contributed to an important moment in their country's history. The royal couple's final public appearance in Pakistan came as they departed for the airport, surrounded once again by crowds of well-wishers who had gathered despite the early morning hour. Children waved flags and held signs thanking them for their visit, while adults applauded their efforts to strengthen ties between the two nations. On the flight back to London, William and Kate reviewed the extensive media coverage of their visit, pleased to see the overwhelmingly positive response from both British and Pakistani outlets. The images and stories emerging from the red carpet event painted a picture of successful diplomacy and genuine cultural exchange that would benefit both countries for years to come. The legacy of October 14, 2019 extended far beyond the elegant evening itself. In the months that followed, the initiatives announced during the visit began to show concrete results. Educational scholarships increased, trade relationships strengthened, and cultural exchanges flourished. The red carpet event had planted seeds that would grow into lasting partnerships and friendships. Years later, when historians looked back at this period in British-Pakistani relations, they would point to this red carpet event as a turning point, a moment when ceremony and substance combined to create genuine progress. The warmth and respect displayed by all participants had created an atmosphere in which real cooperation could flourish. The personal touch that William and Kate brought to their diplomatic role had transformed what could have been a routine state visit into something much more meaningful. Their willingness to engage authentically with Pakistani culture and people had created bonds that transcended politics and protocol. The children who performed traditional dances that evening would grow up remembering the night they entertained the future King and Queen of England. The artisans who demonstrated their crafts would tell their grandchildren about the royal couple's genuine interest in their work. These personal connections, multiplied across hundreds of individual encounters, created a foundation of goodwill that would endure for generations. As the anniversary of the event approached each year, both British and Pakistani media would revisit the highlights of that magical evening, reminding their audiences of the power of personal diplomacy and cultural exchange. The red carpet event of October 14, 2019, had become more than just a successful state visit. It had become a symbol of the enduring friendship between two proud nations.